Hey, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com, and in this video we are going to look at the best gas credit cards, the best gas rewards, the best gas rebates on credit cards. But first I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not already. And if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So best gas credit cards, we are going to look at cards that have the best gas rewards or rebates or discounts, but then we're also going to take into account what else a card might offer in terms of rewards and rebates, if there's an annual fee on the card, all that kind of stuff. So all the cards we're going to talk about have at least a 3% reward, rebate, discount on gas purchases. Some of them may be straight cash back, some of it may be points that you can use toward other things, and we'll talk about all of that as we go along. So I'm going to start with 3 cards that give you 3% cash back on your gas purchases, and they have no annual fee, they have no membership requirement, anything like that. So you're going to get the 3% cash back on gas, and there's some other things going on with these cards that might make them attractive to you as well. The first card is the Wells Fargo Propel American Express card, which gives you 3% back on your gas purchases, 3% back on transit purchases, which is things like Uber and Lyft or public transportation, all that kind of stuff, 3% back at restaurants, 3% back on most travel purchases, 3% back on streaming services, 1% back everywhere else. So a lot going on with this card in addition to that 3% on gas. It also has a bonus as I make this video of 20,000 points, which you can think of as $200 if you spend $1,000 in the first 3 months of having it. So a very good no annual fee gas credit card, but a very good overall no annual fee card, maybe the best no annual fee card for hitting a lot of different categories there in terms of everyday spending. Next is the Bank of America Cash Rewards card, another no annual fee card that gives you 3% cash back in a category of your choosing from a list that Bank of America provides of potential purchasing categories. One of those categories is gas, so you can get 3% back on your gas purchases with this card. Also 2% back on grocery store or wholesale club purchases. Now there is a quarterly cap of $2,500 in purchases in that gas and grocery/wholesale category. So if you spent beyond $2,500 in a quarter in those categories combined, then you'd get 1% on everything beyond that, but that's a pretty high cap. So for most people, I don't think they would probably hit that. Anything else you buy with the card also is going to be a 1% cash back reward. In terms of a bonus, as I'm making this video, you could get a $200 bonus if you spend $1,000 with the card in the first 3 months of having it. I'm also going to throw the Venmo credit card in here. It's a no annual fee card that gives you 3% cash back in the purchasing category where you spend the most each month. So if you had the card and you spent the most every month on gas, well then you would get 3% back on those gas purchases. It also gives you 2% cash back in the purchasing category where you spend the second most every month, and then you get 1% cash back on everything else. This card does not have a bonus, at least as I am making this video. So those 3 cards are good no annual fee sort of base cards to make sure you get 3% back on all of your gas purchases. Now we're going to look at a bunch of other cards that may give you 3% or more on your gas purchases and maybe would be even more attractive to you as your number 1 card or as a complimentary card, but all of them have some reason that they may be either more difficult to get, or you might have to pay an annual fee, you might have to be a member, all that kind of stuff. So let's start here with the Discover It card and the Chase Freedom Flex card. I'm going to kind of lump these two together because both of them offer 5% cash back on gas purchases sometimes. The structure of both of these cards is that there is a 5% cash back calendar where each calendar quarter what you get 5% cash back in will change. So different purchasing categories in January, February, March, then April, May, June, and so on. Gas is often one of the 5% categories on these cards, so conceivably if you held both of these cards half of the year, you can usually get 5% back on your gas purchases. In some years, even longer than that. No annual fee on both of these cards. Both of them have a bonus. Chase is generally an upfront bonus if you spend $500 in the first few months of having the card. Discover has their cashback match where they essentially double all the rewards that you earned in that first year of having the card. The USAA Cashback Rewards Plus American Express card is a no annual fee card that gives you 5% back on your gas purchases, 5% back on military base purchases on up to $3,000 per year in those two categories combined. You'll also get 2% back on groceries on up to $3,000 in grocery purchases per year, 1% back on everything else. The USAA credit cards are for current and former military members as well as their spouses and children. So if you qualify, this is a very good card for you to get a nice rebate on your gas purchases. No bonus on this card. If you're a Sam's Club member, the Sam's Club MasterCard gives 5% back on your gas purchases on up to $6,000 per year in gas purchases. Anything beyond that would be a 1% reward. You get 3 to 5% on your Sam's Club purchases. Otherwise, depending on your level of membership, 3% back on dining, 1% back on everything else with this card. No annual fee other than being a paid member of Sam's Club. There is a one-time per year redemption on this card, so you are not going to be able to redeem this anytime you want to, or just when you hit a certain threshold. You only get that reward one time per year. So maybe you like that and you get a lot all at once, or maybe that will annoy you. If you are a paid Costco member instead of a Sam's Club member, or maybe in addition to a Sam's Club member, the Costco Everyday Visa is a card that would be available to you. That card gives 4% back on your gas purchases on up to $7,000 in yearly gas purchases, 1%. Beyond that, you get 3% back on dining purchases, 3% back on travel purchases, 2% back on Costco purchases, 1% everywhere else. No annual fee beyond being a paid Costco member. There is no bonus on this card, at least usually not. And like the Sam's Club card, one redemption per year. So if that makes you unhappy, then you would not like the card as much. But for a lot of Costco members, this is a popular one. The Verizon Visa is a no annual fee credit card that gives you 4% back on your gas purchases, also 4% on grocery purchases, 3% on restaurant purchases, 2% on Verizon purchases, 1% everywhere else. It all sounds very good, but you should know that you only get those rewards in credits toward your Verizon bill, whether that be for your monthly Verizon service or if you bought a phone through Verizon. So if you're a Verizon customer, a very good card. You could almost think of it as a cash back card. It's just that you're only using the rewards to pay for your Verizon bill, and most of those are fairly expensive. So your rewards probably wouldn't cover the whole thing anyway. So a decent card, but only for Verizon customers. Like I said, no annual fee, generally no bonus on this card either. If you have PNC Bank in your area, the PNC Cash Rewards Visa is a good no annual fee card that gives 4% back on those gas purchases, 3% on dining, 2% on grocery, 1% on everything else. Now those 4%, 3%, and 2% categories, you would get those numbers on up to $8,000 in combined purchases per year in those categories. So once you went beyond $8,000 in gas, dining, and groceries, then it would be 1%, but that's still a pretty nice cap. This card does have a bonus opportunity as I make this video of $100 if you spend $1,000 with the card in the first 3 months of having it. The next card to take a look at, the Pentagon Federal Credit Union Rewards Visa Signature Card, a no annual fee card that gives you 5 points per dollar on your gas purchases when you pay at the pump, 3 points per dollar on supermarket purchases, 1 point per dollar everywhere else. You should know that the points that you earn cannot be redeemed for cash. They can be redeemed for gift cards or merchandise or travel, and the valuation that you are going to get is going to vary depending on which of those you choose. You will do better if you redeem toward travel than you would for gift cards or merchandise. If you redeem toward travel, you could think of those 5 points per dollar in gas as probably being worth close to what you would expect as a 5% reward. If you chose gift cards or merchandise, you might get a little bit less. Overall, a pretty nice card if you don't care as much about getting cash back as your reward. This card does have a $100 bonus opportunity as I make this video if you spend at least $1,500 with the card in the first 3 months of having it. Pentagon Federal Credit Union is a credit union that requires membership. It is generally easy to become a member even if you don't fall into one of the normal categories of membership, so that is not necessarily a hurdle here. The Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards American Express card is a great all-around credit card if you can qualify to be a member of Navy Federal Credit Union. So this is a no annual fee card that gives you 3% or 3 points per dollar on your gas purchases, as well as 3% on dining, 3% on groceries, 3% on transit as well, along with those gas purchases, 1% everywhere else. As I make this video, there is a bonus of 20,000 points potentially, which would be equal to $200 that you might take advantage of. So this card would go right up there with those cards I talked about at the beginning of the video if you are someone that qualifies to be a member of Navy Federal Credit Union, meaning in many cases that you have a military background yourself or you are associated with someone that does. So not everyone can get into Navy Federal Credit Union. The Pentagon Federal Credit Union kind of has a back door where pretty much anyone could be a member. That is not necessarily true of Navy Federal. But if you qualify, a very good all-around card, great for gas, but great on some other levels as well. If you are in an area where Bank of the West does business, they have a good cash rewards MasterCard that is no annual fee, 3% back on gas, 3% on dining, 3% on groceries, 1% everywhere else. As I make this video, I don't see that there's any bonus for new card holders, but a very good everyday credit card for gas, as well as those other enhanced categories. Now let's talk about a couple American Express cards that are not so much gas focused, but there's a good gas reward as part of a bigger card package, but these cards do have annual fees, so you want to decide if that makes sense for you. The first of those is the Blue Cash Preferred card that normally has a $95 annual fee. As I make this video, I'm actually seeing offers of no annual fee first year and then a $95 annual fee, so if you can grab that, that is going to make the card worth even more. So you get 3% back on your gas and transit purchases, 6% back on U.S. grocery store purchases on up to $6,000 per year, so a very big reward on those grocery purchases. Also 6% on streaming services, 1% back on everything else with the card. Usually a healthy bonus on this card, or bonus opportunity of $200 to $300 with a spend in the first 3 months that is going to vary depending on what offer you see, but a lot that you can get from this card. Now with that $95 annual fee, you'll have to decide if that makes sense for you. In my estimation, and I've talked about this in many other videos, if you are spending over $3,000 in those grocery and streaming categories combined, this card is going to make sense with that $95 annual fee anyway, because you're getting so much in those categories. The more you spend on those groceries and streaming services, the more this is going to make sense. The 3% on gas and transit is almost a throw-in on top of those. So this card can make a lot of sense as an overall package. You need to check your spending and decide if it makes sense for you. And then there is the Amex Everyday Preferred card. This card also has a $95 annual fee. It rewards you with American Express membership rewards points. So you get 2 points per dollar on your gas purchases, 3 points per dollar on grocery purchases, 1 point per dollar everywhere else. However, if you use the card at least 30 times per month, all of those rewards get a 50% boost. So you could think of 2% as being 3%, 3% as being 4.5%, 1% as being 1.5%. So obviously it looks a lot better if you use the card often. Now you also have to think to yourself, how do you value American Express's membership rewards points? For some people, if they use them toward travel, if they really know the program well, they can get sort of outsized value from those points. For many other people, you might not get as much as you think. So that 2 points per dollar, even if it was 3 points per dollar on gas, it might be worth less than 3% on those gas purchases if you don't redeem it right. So that is something where you would have to explore the membership rewards program if you're not really familiar with it to understand how to redeem those points at the best value. Bonus on this card, as I make this video, 15,000 points if you spend $1,000 in the first 3 months of having the card. American Express changes their bonuses all the time, so you may see a different bonus opportunity. And then finally, let's talk about gas station specific credit cards. Many of the major gas station chains have their own credit cards, but to be honest, most of them are not really very good compared to the cards that we just talked about. They generally will market themselves as how much you are getting as a discount off of every gallon of gas. But when you look at that compared to the price of gas, you'll you'll find out that you're actually getting less than you would if you used one of the cards we already talked about. 3 sort of exceptions to this rule where you might get the same or more from those cards versus the cards we've already talked about are the Shell Fuel Rewards MasterCard, the BP Visa, and the Meijer MasterCard. Each of these cards has a structure where you're probably getting 3 to 4% depending on what the current gas prices are, and all of them have sort of some other features where you could even enhance those rewards to some extent and make those cards more attractive. So that's it, a lot to choose from there. If you know of other cards that I missed or you have questions or comments on those, I would love to hear that in the comments section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com where we do credit card reviews, we talk personal finance, talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. Thank you for watching. Bye.